everyone, welcome back to my channel. I thought I would do another Valentine's DIY. Woo! And this time I thought I would do the rose boxes, which are very popular. The rose boxes that you see are usually $300 to $400, and these are actually under 10 each, which is a hell of a lot different than what you would be paying if you got the real ones. I think they look really cute. There are some things that I would change about them, but overall I'm really happy. This is a great DIY for a loved one. It's a great DIY if you want to just do some decor, and all the items you can either find at your local Dollar Tree or Michael's. So this bin is actually from the Dollar Tree. It comes in clutch, and this brush set I got from Michael's. You can really get any brush set. If I think about it, I probably wouldn't have gotten styrofoam for this project, but you know, it was a lot cheaper than the other things. And I got some chalkboard paint, which now that I think about it, I probably would have gotten either an acrylic paint or spray paint, because this type of paint works best on porous surfaces, and this is a very smooth surface, so I really had to work this paint in and do several coats. I would probably recommend spray paint, but I live in an apartment in New York, and if you guys know, it is really cold, so that's a no-go. And definitely don't use spray paint in your house. Something that I was doing that was an error was I was using the Rolly, I guess, brush, and while that's good for like painting, I guess, like walls, like it's not the good method to paint this type of material, because it was just sliding the paint everywhere. And because this was a styrofoam foam roller, the styrofoam was actually like eating up all the paint. So I highly recommend don't just like doing what I'm doing right now, which is this motion, which is kind of like the painting motion. It will somewhat work, but it was like taking off the paint. It wasn't making it opaque, and I was getting downright frustrated because the roller was taking up all of the paint. But as you can see, this method I'm doing now, which is the dabbing motion, works the best. It actually makes the coat more opaque. It doesn't drag too much of the product around. I'm using less paint because I don't have to do several layers of this. And as you can see to the right, that was after I believe like 2 or 3 coats of the black paints on the bucket itself. So I am now painting the lid, and it's really like self-explanatory. There's no like, I guess, rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I do swipe it right now, but I go back to dabbing because I realize that is the best method to paint this type of material, because your girl was stressed. I thought it was going to be a flop, and I definitely didn't want that. So it takes some time, so be patient. Put on some Netflix, put on some Hulu, definitely put on some gloves, because you know this black paint will get everywhere, and protect yourself, so wear some gloves. And yeah, so I'm just painting this over and over again, and make sure that you get all the corners. I'm also using this roller thing again because I noticed that a lot of the paint was kind of just like bubbling on top, and I wanted a more smoother surface. So I was just rolling it out, and it was taking away a lot of the excess paint that was on top, because it wasn't looking good with the way that it was dabbing, if that makes any sense. So at the end, this is what it should look like. Again, you see there's like a little bit of a bubble up top. That is, you know, I eventually use a roller to get that out, but I'm showing you, I'm kind of like dabbing any, I guess, like patches that weren't opaque enough so that you wouldn't see any of the design from the container itself. I also got a box from Michael's, which was a little bit more expensive. This was around $4 compared to that bin, which was $1. So this is what the container looks like the next day. It is completely dry, so it definitely take you 2 days. I also got 6 pieces of floral foam from the Dollar Tree as well, and I also got these foam rose heads from Amazon. They come in a variety of different colors. This is the 100 pack. I definitely did not use all of them. And then I also got the knife from Dollar Tree to cut the flower foam, and I don't recommend that at all, but that was the only thing that I could find that I thought would help me cut the flower foam. So I also got some E6000 glue, which I don't recommend for this project, but yeah, so as you see, I am cutting the floral foam with the knife as I'm watching medium, as you can see in the corner. I'm also cutting this floral foam like a maniac. I don't know what I was doing. That is not the way to cut, but I was basically trying to have it fit perfectly, or it fit as well as it could in the circle so that I could put the roses inside. In total, I purchased 6 floral foams and I used basically all of it. I think I have maybe like a quarter of a sliver left of the floral foam, so you do use all of it. You could use less. It really depends on the aesthetic or the look that you're going for. As you see, I am struggling cutting this floral foam, and that's why I don't recommend using a knife. If you do, like, definitely be careful, but I don't recommend it. And as you see, I am not strong enough to break that. I thought it was Captain America right there. So what I'm doing is I am trying to align the foam inside the container and have it fit, and I was struggling. It was something that I had to keep working on. It was like a game of Tetris, and I finally got it to fit where it wasn't bulking or changing the shape of the container. Now I'm using E6000 to glue or attempt to glue the roses, and that's when I noticed that I didn't have enough floral foam and it was too low, so you wouldn't see it enough, or it wouldn't be peaking enough for you, as well as like the floral foam was not even, so there were some roses that were a lot lower than others. This was definitely a process, and I literally was getting so frustrated because I was just like, it's coming together, yes, we got this, E6000, everyone talks about it, so many good things. I don't doubt that it's a good glue, but for this project I don't recommend it at all because these were not sticking whatsoever. So I had to switch this around and come up with a completely different method. So as you can see, I had to take another method. So I needed to cut the lid of the container. That wasn't the intention of this project. I was going to use it for something else, but I needed kind of a stable base in order to put the roses because the floral foam wasn't even, and I needed them to all be on the same level. So as you see, I cut the rim off, and the mistake I made here was that I glued that top to the floral foam. If you're doing this, I highly suggest putting the roses on first to that piece and then gluing the piece with the roses onto the floral foam afterwards, because it kept shifting since the floral foam was not level at all, and I was getting so frustrated because this E6000 was not holding them down. They kept shifting, they kept popping off, and so I eventually took the lid off. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to put the roses down and have a flat surface and glue them, and I'm pressing them together. I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm going to keep using this E6000. It's going to work. And as you can see, like that rose, like near my hand, it started like moving. Like I put it down and it started like pushing back up, which was highly annoying. I also had all this glue in my hand. I was just getting so frustrated because it wasn't working. I'm like, please don't be a flop. What am I going to do? So I decided to get my glue gun. Now, definitely be careful when you're using a glue gun because these are foam rose heads and the heat may, I guess, like melt them. But this was the only way that these rose heads stayed to this board. They didn't shift. They didn't move up. There was nothing. They stayed down. They were holding on. They were ride or die for me, and I was so excited about that because I was getting so frustrated. And as you can see, I had all this glue on my nails. I think I got my nails done that day. So again, maybe you should wear gloves for when you're doing the rose part in case you don't want glue all over you. And yeah, that's basically what I did. I glued all the rose heads onto the little board, as many as I can fit. Like I really squished a lot of them in there so that there were no spaces. You could put as many or as little as you would like. It is your preference. But I tried to squeeze as many as I could on there. And then after that, I glued the lid, which is what I should have done in the first place. I glued the lid to the fluorofoam. Now, if you want to use this for multiple things, I don't suggest gluing it down, but I knew that I was only going to use it for this. And I glued the top down. As you can see, they're a lot higher than when I first started. They're all like the same level, and it just looks a lot better than when I first started. And yeah, I was just checking it out, making sure that everything was okay, that there was no glue on anywhere. And yeah, I thought it looked pretty good for, under $10. So I was excited. And then onto the box version of it. This is a box I got from Michaels. They also come in a variety of different sizes. You don't have to get this size at all. And I basically had kind of like the same issue with the fluorofoam with this. Like the fluorofoam was in a specific shape and it wouldn't exactly fit into, I guess, this square shape. And I also didn't have enough fluorofoam to just like stack them up either. So I really had to think of something to do. So what I decided to do was I started to glue the fluorofoam to the top of the box. Now again, if you want to use this box for something else, I suggest buying more fluorofoam so that you can build it up. But I didn't have any intention of using this foam anywhere else, so I decided to just glue each of the fluorofoams to the sides. And yeah, I also did use a lot of glue from my glue gun, so just a heads up, you will need quite a bit of glue. I got my glue gun from Amazon. I got it last year for another project, so I will leave that link down in the description bar as well, because it is a tried and true. It was inexpensive and it worked for me. So I'm just going to glue all those corners down. As you can see a lot of the fluorofoam is like sticking to the top. I should have made them all level, but we do know how that goes. It was just a process. I was ready for this to be over. My glue sticks kept running out. That is the love-hate relationship people hate with DIYs. It will either go really wrong or really good. So you definitely don't know. As you can see, I was struggling with this last piece to glue it on, and I didn't know which way I was going to put it. So after that, it was the same process. This one, I know exactly how many roses I had. I had 6 by 5, so a row of 6 roses by 5. And so I had 30 roses on this. And I did like the way that this one came out. I just love the square shape. It does remind me a lot of the Venus and Fleur boxes that I see, that I desperately one day want to get. But if somebody wants to buy me $300 roses, let you go know, because I can't justify paying that price ever for a box of roses when I can make them for a lot cheaper, and I think that they still look cute. So as you see, I am still adding the roses. I'm just pressing them down so that they don't lift up. And yeah, I think that was it. That was one of the easiest DIYs I think I've done, because this one, it really was just gluing the fluorofoam and then gluing everything down. It didn't take that much. So now I'm just securing any of the roses down just in case, because I did notice some of them were kind of just not completely glued down, and I didn't want any of them to pop out at a later date. And this is where I kind of have a really hate relationship. I got this transfer paper from Michaels, and I thought, if I do a white background with black lettering, maybe it'll come out. No. Then I do a black background with white lettering, and it also didn't come out at all. I even attempted to show you how it looked in the inside of the container, and it shows up obviously. And then I did a white background with black lettering again, and that's the best that I could get it. That's with the flash. Without the flash, you can barely see it. I would definitely recommend using Mod Podge, a black background with white lettering. I think it will look a lot better. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you guys subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.